Right, kia ora koutou whānau. Thank you for coming back and checking out Mr. C's learning vids. Sorry, it has been a week or so since I last posted a video. It's been quite busy in New Zealand getting the hang of distance learning and online learning. Today, I've had a bit of a request from a few of my students to do a video around decimals and the introduction to decimals. So I'm just going to get rid of this and then we'll start cranking through it. Awesome. So I've got two definitions there. The first one is for a whole number and the second one is for a decimal number. Now, a whole number is any number that does not have a decimal point. So I've got examples there of 1, 4, 13, 45, 765 or 23,454. When you look at those numbers, the decimal point is not visible. There is no part numbers there. They are a whole digit or digits by themselves. The second definition there is for a decimal number. So that is when a number is a number whose whole number part and fractional part means just a section of something, is separated by a decimal point. Okay, so the dot in a decimal number, like this one here, is a decimal point. So we've got the whole part of this decimal number, and we've got the fractional part, which is not a whole number. When I first start introducing decimal numbers to my students, I find that the easiest context, or an easy, authentic context for them to get their head around this is money. Now, if I was thinking of money and say I had $2, that is a whole number. I've got two whole dollars. But if I had $2.30, I've now got a decimal. So I've got two whole dollars and I've got part of a dollar. I've got 30 cents. Now that 30 cents doesn't make up a whole dollar. It is only a part. It's a fraction of it, of a whole dollar. So this now becomes a decimal number. One of the key things that we need to think about when we're looking at decimal numbers is place value. Now this diagram here explains that really easily. Anything on the left-hand side of the decimal are our whole numbers. So we use our normal place values columns, our ones, tens, if we would carry on, our hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, etc., and so on. The big difference when we switch into the decimal side or the fractional side of our number is that we add on the THS to anything on this side. And so whenever we see something like tenths, hundreds, or thousandths, we know that we're looking at a decimal number. Now we don't have oneths, we go straight to tenths. So we have tenths, hundreds, thousandths, tens of thousands, and so on. Now, when we're looking at these two arrows down here, anything, say these numbers were exactly the same and I had 777.77, so I've got 777.77. What it's saying is that to get from this number to this number, my 7 to my 70 is 10 times bigger. And to get from my 70 to my 700, the world's worst 7 drawn there, but that would also be a 10 times bigger increase. Now to go from my 7/10ths to 700ths, that is getting 10 times smaller. And so that is what those, the 10 times bigger and the 10 times smaller is there. So just as a quick recap, as I know I've raced through that, a decimal number is made up of part whole number and part fractional number. So a good example of that is we've got our $2 is a full amount and our 30 cents is in a whole dollar, so we add it on as only part of a dollar. I'm going to add this link into our follow-up. And I'll put the link into the video description box. I've only got 10 seconds, so I'm rushing, but there is a whole lot of word problems here. So check that out and work through them in terms of money.